Hi everyone, I'm here through the portal to share my life review that I've walked within the physical interdimensional existence after I died. And how I died was due to a drug overdose. Where I died was within a hotel room, and the circumstances of my life in what led me to that moment within an hotel room and a drug overdose was my life as a sex slave. And I'm here to share my life in what led up to me essentially being completely intertwined into a whole sex network within this world, and why it is that so many women can't find a way out. And many of us women that have been trapped into sex slavery have been judged or condemned or speaking these varying hopeful statements of having the ability or opportunities or doors open and available to us to get out, but the circumstances of how we really exist within that context is in no way understood. I mean, if the networks of it in this world system in relation to money were understood, and how it intertwines and interconnects between companies, groups, individuals, and us, it would have been stopped a long time ago. And sex slavery is as much a part of the money circuits within this world as consumerism. So my life as a sex slave started when I was 11, and we were, as a family, extremely poor. And I remember from when I was 11 to before I was 11, my father would be away most of the time and looking for jobs, looking for a place where he can receive a stable income and send to myself and my mother. I was an only child. And a lot of the time we were dependent on our neighbors or our entire village in obtaining food. And now and then my father would come back and he'd have money, and with that we'd be able to again buy what we need to be able to sustain ourselves. But throughout the years I could see the consequence our lives had taken on our father, and he eventually got so frail and sick from all the traveling and the types of jobs that he had to do, I mean, just to support myself and my mother, that he got to a point where he just couldn't. And so we tried for a while to make do with what we had, but again, everyone else didn't even have enough for themselves, and to support us as well was taking a toll on others' lives and well-being. And then one day this big truck, well, it was like one of those big jeeps came through town, and they called on all the fathers within the village, and they said that they are able to ensure a future for us in a different country, and where we'd make enough money to be able to send here and sustain the lives of everyone. And they're looking for especially young girls between the ages of 11 and 14, because we'd have to be trained and educated to make a sustainable income. And the nature, obviously, of that training was not shared or given. The only thing that our parents obviously heard was a future and money. And the hope of having a future, of having money, of having a life in this world completely overrides any common sense or any further questioning or any concerns or worries. Because, the people that came looked like they had a lot of money, and their bodies were well nurtured, and gold teeth and all that. So it was obviously quite a prospect to consider. And so there was a total of 17 of us that went with him together. And what also consolidated any fears was that we were a lot of girls going together, and that we'd write, and they're giving us a future with money, so all will be fine and well. And for myself as well, when it was happening, you grow up very fast in physical conditions of suffering. And with that, you realize your responsibility to family and to others as well. And even though I had extensive fear of not knowing what the future will bring, the only things I had was that it will be a future and that there will be money. And that I was going to do this for my family. And so we left, and we went on a massive container ship, and obviously within that process it's always starting with all the networks in having the necessary resources in terms of smuggling beings out of countries. And already in this world there are massive amounts of such networks, because the amount of money that is made in sex slavery is quite substantial, because the slaves themselves don't make any profit. We're only basically taken care of in terms of our basic needs, and the little bit we have left we utilize for food. And now and then we have the ability to spend it on clothes and jewelry and makeup and things like that. But all of it is in line with having us be prepared and looking perfect and educated in terms of how to be the perfect sex slave. So it's not at all a life where you are in any way free to utilize the money for any personal gain or enjoyment. And the monies that are involved within sex slavery, especially the elite slaves, most of it go obviously to the people that are in control of the entire business, and they then channel the monies into whichever higher up people are connected to these networks, which are primarily linked to humans that have companies or industries, businesses, And it is another additional stream of income that is utilized for more money and elitist living within this world system. And so we were smuggled out of the country. And I mean, I've never in my life seen a city or lights or the real city centers of the corporate world. And so it was a completely new experience, like a new world. Like, it felt like, because on the ship we'd been sleeping, and when we woke up there were just these tall, massive buildings and airplanes and noises, and it was quite a shock. It almost felt like being in a completely new world. And I experienced hope and excitement, and all of us were quite curious in what life will bring. And so initially we were kept in a apartment building where we'd been educated on the world and how humans function and money and businesses, corporations, industries, and so basically just getting to know how to live in the world. And I mean, we'd write letters and things to our parents in terms of where we were and what we were learning and things like that. And I mean, everything else was taken care of. We had food every night, and clothes on our back, and everything seemed quite perfect until one day there was a woman that came into the room, and she had her makeup and the clothes and the hair, and I mean, she was really beautiful to all of us that had never been introduced to such nice clothes and makeup and hair. And she started educating us on how to walk, how to stand, how to do our hair, how to do our makeup, how to dress. And I mean, everything was initially provided to us for us. And then they trained us in terms of sex, safe sex, sexuality, how to attract males, how to please males. I mean, it went into massive detail in terms of how to touch, how to kiss, how to have sex, positions. I mean, everything in terms of the entire sexual relationship that we'd have to have with males. And I mean, we thought this was normal worldly relationship, sex, education, because I mean, everywhere we'd go, we'd see females within an similar interaction with males, and they were simply teaching us how to be the same as part of how to live in this world. And during those processes, the main leader of the organization came into the room and said, "This is our future, this is where the money is, and this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives." And we were really confused because, I mean, we've never had sex. We've only learned about it now from what they've been educating us about it. And here they're telling us we have to actually do what we've learned. And I mean, obviously we were extremely frightened and petrified because this is not what we had projected in terms of what our lives are going to be like, in how we're going to be able to get money, and did not realize or consider that people even make money from sex. And So they said that we're either going to do this or they're going to leave us out on the streets with nothing and no one. And I mean, some of the girls got scared and they tried to run away, and they threatened and hit and told them that if you don't listen, they'll very easily be able to kill us and throw us out on the streets, and that would be then the futures and the lives of our parents, brothers and sisters. And I mean, there was no way that we could make it in this world. I mean, we weren't educated in terms of how the system works or how to make a life for ourselves in this world. We had nothing. We had no one. And so they even had rooms within this building where they had men on which we could practice, and we'd have an overseer that would have a look at how we are engaging within the entire sexual interaction and relationships. And that went on for quite a while until we were absolutely perfect. And I mean, everything had to be absolutely perfect. The hair, the makeup, the clothes, our bodies. And obviously there were various different body sizes or shapes. And so according to how we looked like when we were 12, 13, almost 14, we had to maintain our body figure as much as possible, because obviously various different clients prefer various different body forms, types, sizes, colors, and things like that. And they obviously had an entire clientele, and according to that, we'd be distributed in going to their particular place of choice and having sex. And I mean, we practiced various contexts of having sex with 3, 4, 5 males at the same time. How to, I mean, all the details we were taught. How to touch, how to play and sensualize the penis, and blowjobs, and foreplay, and sexual positions. And so our entire education and our living became just about sex. And we didn't have a way out because we had no idea how this world works. Plus, all the clientele was part of the entire network and organization. So if we in any way would try and ask for help or try and get a way out or run away, it would be known. And there was really no way out. It's either stay or die. And I mean, with the nature of people in this world, who would help someone like us? And so one become good at what one is forced to do within this world. And obviously the monies never came or went to our parents and to our lives back home. And plus we couldn't steal money either, because again, clientele, the exact prices are aligned, and we'd only get a bonus, if you will, if the clients were really satisfied. And this may seem like a very elitist structure in terms of it being similar to having the escorts that do exist in the elite worlds, but the very nature of where we'd meet up for the sexual encounters with clients, it was mostly in very dilapidated hotels and apartments and places like that because of the nature of obviously the work that we do and us being illegal within the country itself. And we were always watched and guarded with cars that would wait once we're done, and be taken back to the exact same buildings. And I mean, you can only run such a network if you have got ties and connections to the very institutions that make all the places that we go possible to exist. So, I mean, this entire sex slavery business is a massive scheme that's part of the entire world system. And a lot of high up elite within this world make a substantial amount of money from such organizations. And I mean, it's not an easy life in any way whatsoever, where you're constantly within the experience of wanting to get out, but you're always threatened with violence, with abuse, with death, being left out in the streets. And I mean, a lot of the times when any girl would get out of place or stand out of line or speak up or anything like that, they'd simply be hit, and really bad. And I mean, there was even a doctor within the premises that would assist and support in ensuring that our physical conditions are always 100%. So whenever we're abused or hit violently, they would simply take care of it. I mean, we never went into an actual hospital ever. I mean, everything was done within that building, and that was my entire life until I was quite old, 34, and it's quite fascinating that throughout my life experience in this life that I had, that the younger I was, the older the men that wanted to have sex, and the older I became, the younger the men became. It was like quite a fascinating line of interaction with males. And it was in a hotel room, and the guy, and I mean, obviously the clients are not always elitist in their behavior and interactions, and we had to do whatever they asked us to do, all and any forms of sex. So many times it became extremely violent, extremely aggressive, extremely painful, but we have to bear it. It's either this or we die. And the fear of death was a lot more extensive than having to go through a life of slavery. And we were in the hotel room, and the guy ordered me to take drugs with him. And obviously we've done a substantial amount of drugs throughout my life within this business. And it definitely takes the edge off of everything in the mind and the body. So I've never become addicted to drugs within my life. It was definitely recreational in terms of being able to just every now and then really let go. And so I took some, and I was just in such a state within the client, because he was really aggressive and violent, and he was knocking me into walls and having sex in all sorts of directions, from the back, from the front, on the table, in the shower, it's like he wanted to materialize all these sexual fantasies with me in one night. And it was really early in the morning, and my body was just wanting to give in. And so I just took and I took and I took. And just to get higher and higher and higher and more away and away and away from the mind and the body, until eventually I finally overdosed. And I say finally because it was definitely a release and a relief from the life that I had lived in this world. And it is kind of strange that I never considered killing myself. I suppose it was also within the hope that I'd one day, someday find a way out, or be able to get back with my parents or home. And from another perspective, the girls that we grew up with, I mean, we'd become family, and I couldn't just leave them. But that night, I was just done. And I did not intentionally want to kill myself, but I definitely unconsciously, deliberately took all that drugs to just have it all be over with. And I mean, my life is a life that many human beings experience in this world, in terms of really being in positions within the mind and this world where you can't get out. I mean, at the stage in how one is interconnected within the relationships with the mind, and especially money and other people and networks, organizations, I mean, threats, death, whatever is keeping beings within the locked in, enslaved positions that they are in this world. And then the elite come and say that just wait, or pray, or there will be a way out, or you're not doing enough, or there's always a way out. Things like that is absolutely laughable and just plain ridiculous, because they in no way are in fact in equality and oneness with the positions and experiences that we find ourselves in. And most of it is also primarily due to, education and poverty. Those people at this stage in no way can help themselves. And it's just very easy for elitists to say such things to people that are in really dire circumstances and situations, because that means they don't have to do anything, when the responsibility is in fact with the in the elitists' hands, because they've got all the money. And to change this world, we're going to need money, or the very systems that circulate or govern or direct or control money. And who's in control of that is the very elite. So the point that I like to share is that you have to consider in your life that you do have a massive amount of opportunities. And when I say you, I speak to those that's got a future, a roof over your head, food, clothes, and that your opportunities within this life can be directed and lived to contribute to a change within this world, where those that do not have any opportunities can be facilitated or assisted and supported eventually, because opportunity equals money. And if you really don't have any money, which you don't have any education, there isn't any opportunities to get out within the system or a life within this world. And that how we've got to walk this process is taking the opportunities as futures that we can with the money and resources that we do have, and prepare ourselves for how to have each human being have all opportunities available to them within this world or in this life, in how to really live and express and discover ourselves and really be educated about what is important within lives or within existence. So the point that I'd like to share is to utilize the opportunities that you have and prepare yourself to stand and eventually create opportunities for others to stand, because obviously the life I had is not the life that I would have in any way wanted. And I'm sure that is so with each human being in some way or another, because we do know that money has become the controlling factor within our decisions and choices of who we are and what we live. And so with money, we have to set ourselves free from those controls. All right. Thank you very much.